Anne Boleyn's life was a dramatic and pivotal chapter in English history, one that forever changed the course of the nation. Born into a prominent family of the English gentry around 1501, she rose from relative obscurity to become Queen of England, a journey fueled by ambition, intellect, and a fortuitous, yet ultimately tragic connection to King Henry VIII. But before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe to help us grow our channel. Early life and European education. Anne's story began not in England but on the continent. Her father, Sir Thomas Boleyn, was a cunning courtier and diplomat who ensured his children received a sophisticated European education. As a young girl, Anne served as a maid of honor in the court of Margaret of Austria in the Netherlands, a hub of intellectual and cultural life. Later, she moved to the French court of Queen Claude, where she spent 7 years. This period was formative, molding her into a cultured, multilingual, and fashionable woman. Unlike the demure English ladies of the court, Anne was known for her quick wit, lively spirit, and a certain French air that made her captivating and different. Her time in France also exposed her to courtly intrigue and the dynamics of power, lessons that would serve her well in the future. The King's Great Matter. Upon her return to England in 1522, Anne joined the court of Queen Catherine of Aragon. It was here that she caught the eye of King Henry VIII, who was already captivated by her older sister, Mary Boleyn. However, it was Anne who truly ensnared the king's attention. Henry, desperate for a male heir and increasingly dissatisfied with his marriage to Catherine, found in Anne not just a mistress, but a potential solution to his dynastic problem. Anne, however, refused to be his mistress. She played a calculated game, understanding that her value lay in her virtue and her potential to be queen. Henry's obsession with Anne became the catalyst for what became known as the King's Great Matter. He sought to annul his marriage to Catherine, arguing that it was invalid in God's eyes because she had been his brother's widow. This was a direct challenge to the authority of the Pope, who refused to grant the annulment. The ensuing stalemate pushed Henry to break away from the Roman Catholic Church, a monumental decision that led to the English Reformation. The road to the throne. With the support of his new Archbishop of Canterbury, Thomas Cranmer, and the cunning political machinations of his chief minister, Thomas Cromwell, Henry defied the Pope and established the Church of England, with himself as its supreme head. This move was not just a religious schism, but a bold declaration of royal sovereignty. In 1533, Henry's marriage to Catherine was declared null and void, and he secretly married Anne, who was already pregnant with their child. On June 1, 1533, Anne Boleyn was crowned Queen of England in a magnificent ceremony at Westminster Abbey. Her reign, however, was short and fraught with tension. Anne failed to produce a male heir, giving birth to a daughter, Princess Elizabeth, the future Queen Elizabeth I. This failure, combined with her political influence and the enemies she had made at court, led to her downfall. Henry's affections began to wane as he became infatuated with another lady-in-waiting, Jane Seymour. Don't forget to like and subscribe to help us grow our channel. Downfall and legacy. In a swift and brutal turn of events, Anne was accused of a series of heinous crimes, including adultery, incest, and treason. These charges were almost certainly fabricated, a desperate and cruel attempt by Henry to rid himself of a wife who had outlived her usefulness. On May 19, 1536, Anne Boleyn was executed on Tower Green, a shocking end for a queen. Despite her tragic end, Anne Boleyn's impact on history is undeniable. She was the catalyst for the English Reformation, a seismic event that reshaped the religious and political landscape of England for centuries. Her daughter, Elizabeth, would go on to become one of England's greatest monarchs, inheriting her mother's intelligence and strong will. Anne Boleyn's story is a powerful tale of a woman who challenged the conventions of her time, ultimately paying the highest price for her ambition and a king's desire. A new obsession starts for Henry VIII. In the mid-1520s, he was a powerful and charismatic king, but he was also deeply anxious about the succession. His marriage to Catherine of Aragon had produced only one surviving child, a daughter, Mary. His desperate desire for a male heir was the driving force behind his actions. Into this volatile environment stepped Anne Boleyn, a woman who was not considered a conventional beauty, but possessed a captivating charm, a sharp intellect, and a worldly sophistication gained from her years at the French court. The courtship. The great matter begins. The initial encounter. Describe how Anne, a lady-in-waiting to Queen Catherine, caught the king's eye around 1526. Henry had already had a brief affair with her sister, Mary Boleyn, but Anne was different. She was a woman of substance who refused to become his mistress. A game of resistance. Detail Anne's strategic refusal to submit to Henry's advances. She understood that if she became his mistress, she would be cast aside like her sister. This move turned her into a prize to be won, fueling Henry's passion and making him determined to have her as his wife. This period is a fascinating study in power dynamics, with Anne using her virtue as a bargaining chip. The love letters. Mention the surviving love letters from Henry to Anne. These letters are invaluable historical documents that show the depth of his infatuation. He signs them with H, a testament to his passionate and personal pursuit. The letters illustrate his unwavering commitment to making her his queen. The annulment crisis. Explain how this obsession with Anne became the king's great matter. Henry's quest to annul his marriage to Catherine of Aragon was directly linked to his desire to marry Anne. This led to a lengthy and public legal battle with the Pope, Cardinal Wolsey, and the Holy Roman Emperor. Marriage and the English Reformation. A secret wedding. Describe the tension and secrecy surrounding their marriage. With Anne already pregnant, Henry and Anne were married in a secret ceremony in January 1533. This was a direct defiance of the Pope's authority, and a clear sign of Henry's determination to have his way. Don't forget to like and subscribe to help us grow our channel. The coronation. Detail the grand coronation of Anne Boleyn as queen on June 1, 1533. This was a moment of public triumph for Anne, but it was also met with some hostility from the English people, who still supported the popular Queen Catherine. Asterisk. A new queen, a new church. Explain the profound political and religious consequences of their union. Henry's break from the Catholic Church was a direct result of his desire to marry Anne. He established the Church of England with himself as its head, forever changing the nation's spiritual landscape. Life as king and queen. The birth of Elizabeth. The joyous event of a royal birth quickly turned to disappointment for Henry when Anne gave birth to a daughter, Elizabeth, in September 1533. While Elizabeth would go on to be a great queen at the time, her birth was a massive letdown for Henry, who was still desperate for a male heir. Asterisk. A tempestuous partnership. Describe the dynamics of their marriage. Anne was a fiery and opinionated queen, who wasn't afraid to challenge Henry. She was a political player in her own right, and her influence at court was resented by many. Their relationship was marked by passionate highs and volatile lows, fueled by Henry's impatience for a son, and Anne's struggle to produce one. Asterisk. The struggle for a male heir. Discuss the subsequent pregnancies and miscarriages. Anne's inability to carry a son to term was seen by Henry as a sign of God's displeasure, and it began to erode his once unshakable passion. The pressure to produce a male heir became immense, leading to a breakdown in their relationship. The downfall and the end. The King's Wandering Eye. Introduced Jane Seymour, a lady-in-waiting who captured Henry's attention. Henry, ever motivated by his desire for a son, began to turn away from Anne and towards the more demure and accommodating Jane. Fabricated charges detail the final, brutal chapter of their story. When Henry decided to be rid of Anne, he and his chief minister, Thomas Cromwell, fabricated charges of adultery, incest, and treason. These charges were a sham, designed to clear the way for a new marriage and a new chance for a son. The execution. Conclude with the tragic end. Anne's trial was a farce, and she was found guilty. On May 19, 1536, she was executed on Tower Green, a mere 3 years after her coronation. Henry, ever pragmatic and cold-hearted, married Jane Seymour just days later. By focusing on these key points, you can create a compelling and well-researched article that explores the complex and ultimately tragic relationship between Anne Boleyn and King Henry VIII. If you found this guide helpful, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us create more content. Don't forget to ring the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when we release our next travel adventure. Thanks for watching. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe to help us grow our channel. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your patronage, and please ring that bell to receive notification on new videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe to help us grow our channel. Thank you for watching, and ring that bell to receive notification on new videos.